Hi, everyone, and welcome back. Today, we are talking to Dr. Aaron Sable, and he has a recommend screenplay from Extreme Screenwriting. It's called Unheard of Potential. Now, this is a very unique screenplay because not only is it a comedy, but it's based on a true life story of a character who is hearing impaired. So, with no further ado, I'd like to introduce you to Dr. Aaron Sable. Good evening.
Hi, Barb. Thanks for having me on. I really appreciate the opportunity to tell my story with you and producers in your network.
Thank you very much. So, Aaron, first of all, your story is so incredible. I just loved it. It has so much depth to it, and you can feel the passion of the story. So, would you please tell our audience out there, our newsletter participants, and also our producers and agents, managers, everyone else watching it, about your story and what inspired you to write the story?
Well, I'm a physical medicine and rehabilitation physician based in Detroit, Michigan area. And I've always had a long passion for exercise. Our specialty focuses on exercise, chronic pain, using modalities, exercise, and medicine to help people improve their potential and optimize their living situation if they have disabilities. So I have a long history of working with the disabled. Also, as a athlete, I did participate in football, wrestling, basketball, which I did not succeed too well. I also was on the college crew and the rowing team at Wayne State University, where I attended for undergraduate and medical school. So I have been in the process of building and inventing a new exercise device, and I call it the Leaper or the Leaper, and it targeted would be the world famous LeBron James athlete.
Oh,
So it's a very unique exercise machine. It uses the whole body due to uh, intellectual property and patent issues. I don't want to discuss it further on this interview, but if anybody's interested in the story, we can definitely discuss the information regarding the invention. But the invention would lead to exercise, new sports, and a new shoe. Um, so part of the movie is that LeBron is in a little bit of a funk because he's not considered the GOAT because his shoe sales lag behind Michael Jordan's there, but that's a small part of the story. So the inspiration of writing the screenplay was I was working as a physician in Detroit. The hospital I was working at was about to close down. So one day I'm in the office, all these trailers are in the parking lot. After I get done with work, I walk out into the parking lot. I said, "What's going on here?" And they said, "They're filming a movie." And it happened to be Gifted Hand, the Dr. Ben Carson story. He's a famous pediatric neurosurgeon who did Siamese twin separation surgery.
mm,
Also, later politically, he was the Health and Human Secretary under Donald Trump for
right.
2017 to 2021. So I walk out into the parking lot. I walk into the production trailer. I said, "What's going on here?" And they said, "We're filming a movie. Who are you?" I said, "I'm Dr. Aaron Sable." I said, they said, "Oh, we need an extra doctor. Why don't you go over there to makeup?"
The
So,
real thing.
so I'm down in makeup. They're breaking the budget in makeup. And then they said, "You got to go to hair." And they said, "Oh, your hair is okay. We're a doctor." So then they said, "Go stand over there." And I'm standing at the Cuba Gooding Jr., the star of the movie.
Oh, cool.
Just
Okay.
yeah, just for a brief scene, and just um, I'm inching a little bit closer to Cuba, and they put an X on the floor, and said, "Don't move from here."
All
So they
right.
they had
That's
to
your
do that
spot.
scene. Yeah, so they spotted me, and then after the scene was done, uh, and I'm done for the day, I walked back out to the production trailer, and I said, "Well, am I going to be in the credits?" And the the assistant typing away. Can't you see I'm busy? How about film medical consultant? And she goes,
That's a good
I'm
one.
busy. She said, leave me alone. If you want to be in the credits, go write your own movie.
Oh, well,
And
here,
that's the
here you
turning,
are.
yeah. And that's the turning point it's also the turning point of the script. So the first two, that's the turning point between act 2 and 3. So the opening scene is LeBron on the leaper in the water with his number 23 being the focus. And then it goes to Ari, the protagonist, on the stationary version of the leaper, and then a rejection letter on the wall from the big athletic firm Nike, Reebok, Under Armour. So what does a person who is rejected by three major athletic companies do? He goes and talks to a movie producer. So then he goes to the Michigan Institute of Film Direction and tries to pitch his movie idea to a movie producer who happens to be Drake, who is the antagonist, who was the childhood bully of Ari, the protagonist, who used to beat him in football, wrestling, and crew. And now later in life, he's a movie producer, and Ari's pitching the film to him.
Of course, you can't make it easy for the hero, right?
No. So two impossible chores: trying to get the invention pitch and getting the movie pitched on the same film. So the first the first acts are the failures as an athlete, and Ari's Jewish mother pointing out to Ari that Jewish boys do not become professional athletes; they become doctors, lawyers, and accountants. And every failure scene leads to that. Finally, Ari gets the message and goes to medical school. So during that time of youth, he also goes to Jewish summer camp and meets his future sister-in-law. And she said, "You're not the one for me, but you might be right for my older sister." And as it turned out, she was correct. And years later, after medical school graduation, after undergraduate and medical school graduation, finally meets Carol, and the female lead, who's a very good athlete, and they proceed with their life in Colorado and also Montana. So there's some fish out of water type of comedy for a Jewish person in Montana, similar to what happened in the television show Northern Exposure with the Jewish doctor in Alaska.
Right. It's out of his element. Yeah.
So, yeah. So there's lots of funny fish out of water scenes, athletic failure scenes, and then Ari comes up with the idea for the leaper. It gets turned down again. He tells the whole story to Drake, the dragon, who then wants to steal the idea. He arranges for a Shark Tank type meeting with the governor to set up in Detroit. Ari goes to Lansing to meet with the governor, who happened to be at that time Jennifer Granholm, who's now cabinet secretary of energy. So a lot of cabinet secretaries are in this movie. And then she arranges for the Shark Tank auction, which local Detroit celebrities and and LeBron arrives at the auction late, and she's begging for any offers because the three athletic companies have already colluded not to bid. And LeBron hands over his shoe, which is worth $100. And then the other athletic companies start bidding up from there because they can't let this idea go for $100.
Sure.
So then Drake has arranged for assassination of Ari to steal the idea. He then proposes a race, the first ever race of the leaper on the Detroit River, and he fixes the race so that Drake is betting the intellectual property versus LeBron's 4 championship rings. So it looks like at the end of the race that Drake is going to win, but Ari arrives in the nick of time with a few maneuvers to get there, and LeBron is able to win. And then it goes on to the following redemption scene of everything that was wrong at the beginning of the movie is now corrected.
Sure, sure. So what would you say if you'd summed it all up in just one line, a log line, like a log line? What would be your log line for the project?
A very shy, hearing impaired wannabe athlete who fumbled through life until he invents a new exercise device, sport, and shoe for LeBron James.
That someone tries to steal. So,
Beg your
it's
pardon?
that someone tries to steal, so they try to steal it from, yeah. So it's all
Yes.
done in a comedy way, everything, the athletics, what happens to him, even the attempted assassination. It's all done in a comedic way so that it's fun.
Yes.
You're having some fun with it, a little fun and mayhem, some fish out of water. So it's all done in a very lighthearted way.
Correct. So I modeled a lot of the early scene comedy after My Big Fat Greek Wedding, one of the most successful comedies of all time, except this is a Jewish version, comparing a Greek girl who needs to get married versus a Jewish boy who's not going to be an athlete.
It's
Who's
not going
not
to be
going
an
to be an
athlete.
athlete?
Right.
Yes.
Got it. Got it. So
As his mother was right.
right, and that's the selling point, and mother's always right.
Yes.
That's right.
Yes.
So, okay,
So
so tell me, it's based on the true story, which we know, and you tell me what inspired you for it. So tell me, what jumps out at you as the most comedic scene of the movie that's like a laugh out loud moment for you, even when you were writing it, it was laugh out loud for you.
well, there's so many, but so one probably one of the most funniest things that happened during medical school is so early in my childhood, I'm very shy, so I didn't have, and I have 2 brothers, so I didn't have too much female exposure or girlfriends early in life. So there's a scene in the medical school. There's a scene in the medical school OBGYN final, and I go up to the OBGYN professor and I said, I don't understand this question. So I do that 2 or 3 times. I keep going up to ask her a question. She
Right.
sits me back down. And then afterwards, out in the hallway, I'm talking to my classmate, and she walks up to me and she said, about that question you had, the answer is true. Females do have multiple orgasms. It's just that you haven't been able to produce any.
Right, right, right. So it's got those poignant real life moments in there. So okay, so as we know, from listening to the interview now, I'm sure most of you know this is based on Dr. Aaron Sable's true story, his own true story. So one of the questions we know that producers have been asking recently to almost every screenwriter that comes in to see them is why now for this particular project and why you? So I'm going to ask that question since I know they always ask it.
Well, I think it's a wonderful time now because the movie Air just came out, produced the Michael Jordan
Mhm.
story. That was, great. It was was a comedy voted screenplay best comedy for the Golden Globes,
Mhm. Right.
and uh, Ben Affleck and Matt Damon did a great job with that. And that was more of a documentary style, and it was rated as a comedy. This is definitely more comedic. Uh, that in my opinion, because there are up until the transition of the go write your own movie, Most of it is based on true story, and the last half is more fantasy. What I wish to happen in
Right, right. That's why
after the
it's
result of
based.
the movie came out. Yes.
Right, it's
Um,
based,
so
not verbatim. Yeah, right.
yeah. So I think the this is great timing because the movie Air just came out, and
Mhm.
I think LeBron needs a response to that
Yes,
movie.
yes, I agree, I agree, I agree. Yes, absolutely.
So that's a great question. So that's why, and me, because I'm the inventor, I don't think anybody else could tell this story of a hearing
Right.
impaired Jewish person from Detroit,
And you have the
which
expertise not just for the character, but the invention the character does and the real life story and the fact that you're a doctor. I mean, you have like 3 levels of selling points there. Multiple levels. So,
well,
oh, go ahead. Sorry.
one of the things in the title, potential. So one of the my subspecialty areas is EMG, and there's motor unit potential, which is looks like an EKG, and I would say that would be make a great poster as being part of the medical poster, because the EKG is the heart potential. So that is one of the
Sure.
things that I thought, and there's also an ambulance thing with that that triggers when things are going to be going on.
Exactly, exactly. So I think it's a very heartwarming story. Has a lot of heartwarming moments, along with the comedy. Has the tragedy as well. Has
Yes.
redemption, as you mentioned, and it's timely, as you mentioned. So I think it has a lot of things going for it. So if there was one final thing you wanted to say to producers about this project, whatever you feel like saying, this is your moment.
Okay. Well, thank you again, Barb. But I think the comparables on this movie, it's Field of Dreams, which is a sports fantasy. This is more real than the Field of Dreams. I think it's as on par with humor with one of the greatest, most successful comedies, My Big Fat Greek Wedding. This is a Jewish version of that. And then I would say the ending of this story is happier than Forrest Gump. Again, all these things that are explained early in the movie is similar to Forrest Gump going around in his life, you know, my life and my wife's life, going around the country, living in Colorado, Montana, and then returning back to Detroit, similar to Forrest Gump going around the country and ending up back in Alabama.
In Alabama,
The
yeah.
other, the other film is Air, and I would compare this favorably to what LeBron did with the movie Trainwreck with Amy Schumer, and part of part of the whole theme of the movie is nobody reaches their full potential in life without the love and support of their family and friends. And I think that's one of the important themes. So it's sort of like A Wonderful Life, but reversed, whereas everybody's saying to the Jimmy Stewart character, "We love you, don't do anything wrong." This is Ari's way of appreciating everybody in his family who has helped him out.
And Ari's the lead role of the
Correct,
story. Yeah.
correct, correct.
Okay, I think that's wonderful. It's absolutely beautiful, and I know you're working on your marketing efforts right now, and we're back off the strike. So, and producers have caught up with filming now, so it's a time to get your scripts out there. So, all right, thank you, Dr. Aaron Sable, for being with us today. And if there's any of you out there that have a screenplay that has placed in a contest, been a finalist, or been optioned or recommended, and you'd like to be interviewed for Extreme Screenwriting's newsletter, which is called Fix My Screenplay, please feel free to contact me and we'll arrange that for you.